So, the Wolfman, the classic story of a man that gets scratched, bitten, or attacked by a canine, half man, half human monster type thing. Pretty much a werewolf. You know, um, all those classic stories that we all know and some love, some hate. But this movie was really good. You guys probably know by now when I do my reviews, I pretty much get straight into the spoilers. I do like a short synopsis and I try to explain it that like even somebody like 5 years old can understand. So the movie The Wolfman starts off with a boy and his father in the woods. And the boy, he's just very curious, asking about this mushroom. And the mushroom happens to be a dead cap mushroom. And that's what the father tells him. He's like, so you don't eat that, or else you'll have a toe tag on your foot. You'll be waking up with a toe tag. So a toe tag is how you end up in the morgue. That's how they identify the different bodies when you die or when people die. So it was just, I think the whole message of the story is pretty much about fathers interacting with their children. Because the whole movie, this father, the little boy, he grows up, it's 30 years later. At first, I thought I said 3 years, but it's actually 30 years later. That boy becomes a man and he has a daughter. And it starts off with them walking in the street in New York, and he's just like such a different person than his dad. He really tries to be more sweet and caring and understanding whenever he's talking to his daughter. But his daughter, she ends up like walking on those little dividers, those little street plastic things that they have on the side of the road, like if you see in New York or anytime they're trying to divide traffic. And he's like, "Get down, get down." And then there was this homeless guy that came up and just started talking to her. He's like, "You got to keep that dog on a leash," or something like that. He said something like that. So it's all kind of playing on the whole monsters, fathers, and dogs, and pretty much how even though your dad, the one that's supposed to protect you, he can even become the monster that tries to hurt you. And that's what even the dad said to the son before. So yeah, I think no, actually he said that to his daughter. He's like, the daddies can be the ones that are supposed to protect you, but sometimes we can be the ones that, end up hurting you. And they had this little nice little way that they showed each other love. He was like, he's like, "I'm a daddy." And she said, what do daddies do? He's like, "Protect their daughters." And he's like, "What do you do?" She said, "I'm a mind reader." And so they would do this cute little thing where she would put her hand on his head and he said, "What am I thinking of?" He said, how much he loves his daughter. And so that day he comes home and his wife is a journalist. She's like a busy, businesswoman. And he's a stay-at-home dad, so he takes care of his little girl all the time. So the mom came home, she gave him a letter, and on that letter, it pretty much said that his dad passed away, which he figured that that's what happened. Because it shows that, or he tells them that, he is sad about it and that he ended up stopped communicating with his father after some years. And, because the way that his dad treated him, he would treat him like really harshly. And, he pretty much, the dad was also a hunter. He was pretty much hunting the wolf man at that time that was in the area. But the little boy didn't understand what his dad's mission was and what he was trying to do. Flash forward, the husband ends up at the wife's job, like outside, and he proposes to her that, "Hey, our marriage isn't really going so well, but I do love you and I do love our daughter. And I feel like that we should try to work things out. And, I want to enjoy life because it's just anybody can leave your life at any time. You never know when people are going to leave." So he suggests that they go back to his dad's place and picks up all of his stuff in a truck. So flash forward, next scene is that them going back to the dad's place, gonna go pick up his stuff. He ends up going to the wrong house and he meets this creepy dude that he used to know when he was a kid. And so the guy's like, "Yeah, you're at the wrong house, but I can show you where it's at." Always like a horror movie starts off, it's like some creepy guy that you probably shouldn't go with, but they end up going with him anyways. So the guy gets in the car, he's showing him how to get to his dad's place. And as he's driving his truck, movie cliche that they always do, they're talking while they're driving and they see something in the road, which is pretty much the wolf man. And he does a really sharp right turn and he has a whole car accident. So mom, daughter, the guy all get all jacked up. The guy falls out of the truck, like the door busts open, and the dude, like the truck is sideways, and the dude is on the ground. And then we just see this. We see him get dragged away. During this whole commotion, this is when the father he gets attacked by the Wolfman because he gets scratched. And I already knew I was like, oh dang, this is how he's gonna become the new alpha, the new werewolf type thing. It's not Teen Wolf. It's not like a little sweet story where a boy becomes a werewolf and has all these superpowers. Because that's all I was thinking. I was like, oh, dang, he's about to have super hearing, super smell, super strength. And he does have all those things. Because this man was like Spider Man. How Spider Man in Amazing Spider Man, when he got his powers, he was able to hear the spider tapping on the desk that was like in his room. This guy was hearing thumps. He thought that it was because after the whole accident, they ended up finding the dad's house. And so they all run into the house. You know, he's trying to board it up. He's trying to make sure everything's okay. And he's hearing these taps of the spider, like that's in a different room. So this guy's senses are already starting to become enhanced. His wife sees that he has the scratch on his arm, and she bandages him up. And in his mind, he thinks he's speaking clear English, but to them, they don't understand anything he's saying. Like he's speaking in all this gibberish. This guy I was talking to at the movie said he was speaking Oomba Goomba, but yeah, he was just not coherent at all. And it was just sad, you guys. Like honestly, you could see that he was trying, but over the movie, he just started becoming more disfigured and contorted, and his face was transforming into like a Wolfman face, but not like a cool Wolfman face, like it was like the monkey ape stuff that they do in Hollywood. I don't know why they always make Wolfman look like monkeys, but yeah, eventually the wolf that was chasing them ends up coming into the house because they want to see like the husband he wants to go outside, you know, he can't speak and everything like that. And it was a cool transition because every time that they would transition to him, it would be like this canine dog sense, like he could hear everything, smell everything. And then every time he would look at his wife and his daughter, they would have like these glowing eyes, and then it would change back to the daughter and the wife's perspective. So it was like that cool little transition. But pretty much him and the Wolfman ended up getting into a fight because this whole night he's been trying to protect them and they've been trying to get help, calling on the radio, all this stuff. And he ends up they ended up doing more scenes where they're like trying to run outside the house, start a truck, and running back inside the house. But eventually, him and the Wolfman have a final showdown, and he realizes in his wolf state, he's still a Wolfman too. He realizes that the other Wolfman is his father, and his father apparently got infected, whatever, you know, he got turned to a werewolf, and him and his wife and the father, they're all trying to fight. You know, the father's a Wolfman, the husband's a Wolfman. They end up trying to fight each other, and then after they kill, he ends up killing his father, and he goes outside and he realizes because he sees the tattoo. His dad has a tattoo, so the tattoo is still the same that his dad had, you know, when he was a kid. So he ends up feeling all distraught. You can see the emotion in like this Wolfman character. That's what was really cool about it. He ends up going outside and he just like starts crying and you know howling to the moon or howling to the sky, and you can see his nails like starting to like poke through like his regular nails, and his teeth were falling out. He was getting new sharper teeth, and his transformation was like really quick. And it ended up with the wife and the daughter being scared of the husband. So like they try to lock themselves into a barn. He tries to dig their way to him. And honestly, I really felt so bad for him because it really just seemed like he would just wanted to be with them, but he looked so crazy and scary and he wasn't in his right mind. So obviously, if you're a mother or like a parent, if you know, if you see somebody acting all crazy, you're gonna do anything to protect yourself and your child. So they ended up running to like this little deer hunting tree house that the son and the father went to in the beginning of the movie because they had saw the Wolfman too. It was like a little scene in the beginning of the movie. But yeah, he climbed up the little stairs, like the little ladder, and he looked at them. And the daughter, she just had that like telepathic feeling with her dad, and she's like, "Mom, I think he just wants to end." And so he was just looking, you know, growling and looking all vicious. And then he did one final lunge, and the wife shot him in the chest, and that was pretty much the end. And then her and her daughter, they went down, saw their father or her husband laying there, looking all lifeless, looking at her one last time, and then he let out his last breath. And then her and the daughter, they went on going into the side of the forest, and they saw like this big great valley, and it ended off in like a beautiful scene of like the whole scenery. But you guys, it was like a really good movie, but it was just like emotionally roller coaster. Like as far as, dang, you really wanted him to actually get to protect his daughter and get to love his daughter, and you wanted him to change back into a normal human, but it's like really there's really no way that that was probably going to happen, because I was hoping that maybe he would change back by daybreak, but I think that infection, once you have it, you have it. And I think the movie's message was really more about how fathers want to protect their children, but sometimes they become the monster that they're actually most afraid of. And yeah, that was this. It was good though. It was good though. It was definitely a thriller. You know, if I was watching this with my mom or my girlfriend, I know they would be jumping and they'd have been scared. So if you want to see like a scary movie like Nosferatu and this movie, you guys, like, these are some really good like horror films. Like I really don't like horror movies because most of the time they're stupid and they're like going into places that they know they shouldn't. But honestly, this was like really well written. It was like this is what real people would probably do. Like usually, I'm not trying to be racist, but usually white people in these movies they be going right into the danger. But this time they were really trying to hide. They were not trying to face the danger, but they just had to do what they had to do, and they got out. Daughter and the wife, they got out. So daughter and the mother. You know, I won't call her the wife, but this is a really great movie. I would suggest you guys, if you haven't seen The Wolfman, go ahead and see The Wolfman. If you like more reviews that like this, go ahead and give the channel a like. I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.